My fiancé cheated and fell in love. My fiancé cheated. My fiancé of 7 months and partner of 7 years cheated on me with a colleague over a 3-month or so affair, emotionally and physically. As he was coming clean, he didn't initially tell me the entire truth. He said he was afraid that would be the straw that broke the camel's back. He thought he was falling in love with her but decided to come clean. Said he was unhappy in our relationship and unhappy in his life, that life feels empty, he struggles to do the things he loves, feels like a failure. He said he wanted a fresh start and that he actively pursued the affair. They were physically together during 2 work conferences. I knew something had changed over the last few months and expressed it, and we even made a plan to be communicating in a more fulfilling way while he was on his work trip. The work trip he became even more physically involved with this married woman who wants out of her marriage according to him. During this trip he would check in with me, ask how communication was, all while spending every night with her. He returned from his trip and still for 2 weeks text and called with this woman, including sexts. He says he wants to stay together and go to individual and couples counseling. Am I being sold a bill of goods? Our relationship had issues of communication, but overall I would try to bond and connect and had really committed to the new chapter of marriage. He also had been wanting to start a family and we were actively trying during this entire time. I am having a hard time understanding and why he did this and why he wants to stay. Why not leave if you're unhappy? Why the affair? How can you feel in love with an affair when you supposedly love someone else? Am I to believe the old adage that if you fall in love while you're in love, it's the second relationship that's true? Any thoughts are appreciated. Mostly looking for community and shared experience. Redditors' reactions. Next story after. Redditor 1. Nah. Duck that noise. You are number 1. You are first choice. His trauma and excuses are bullshit. Don't accept it, for he will do it again. Do you want him to do this when you have had kids with him? It seems to me he monkey branched and it failed, so he went back to option 2. Op answer, thank you. I thought that too, and he of course said it wasn't that way, but what else could it be? Redditor 2, he's staying with you because the AP decided to stay with her husband. No, don't be an option. Get all information about the woman and her husband, then inform him of the affair. Redditor 3, contact his AP's husband and let him know about the affair. I'm guessing that she decided that she wanted to stay with her husband as she will likely lose too much in the event of a divorce, especially if you live in an at-fault state. Get yourself tested for STIs and make sure that your finances are separated. Lock down your credit. Speak to an attorney if you share a mortgage or other large financial purchases. Protect yourself. If you decide to stay and go ahead with marriage in the future, get a prenup with an infidelity clause in it. He cheats, you get everything or at least 70% of everything. Story 2. My wife almost cost me my relationship with our kids. My daughters 19 and 15 have been very standoffish for the past month and a half, and I had no clue why. Any attempts to even have a civil conversation were shut down, and my wife claimed to be as clueless as me. This was really weighing on me, and I was trying to analyze my steps and actions constantly. It all blew up when we woke up one day to find our eldest had run away from home. When asking her sister if she knew anything, she screamed at me saying, even if she did, she would never tell me. That hurt so much and completely baffled me. My parents refused to even pick up my phone regarding the matter and only sent a text that they were disappointed. I haven't cried since I was 11, but I have been sobbing in my car, the bed and bathroom for weeks now. My wife had been my rock, while my youngest daughter looked at me with hate and satisfaction as if my suffering was deserved. That look is burned in my memory and it still hurts. Eventually, during an outing to try and meet my parents with my wife and daughter, which we had to beg force her to go to, we ran into my parents, my eldest and another girl outside their house. Before anyone could say anything, I started crying again and tried to hug her, but my dad got in the way and pushed me back. Unlike him, I'm not a big man, so the push was quite hard and I fell on the ground. That kind of stopped everything for a minute. It was a very emotional moment for me and I got very angry. I started screaming at all of them, just asking what have I done and trying find out why am I being treated so horribly. My eldest then literally told me to shut up and stop acting like a victim. Then she held hands with the girl and introduced us to her girlfriend. My wife started going off on my daughter and saying, your father and I are so disappointed in you. We didn't raise you like this. How can you do such a thing? You'll go to hell. I was so confused and just asked what everyone was talking about and since when was she into girls and why is my wife talking that way? Well, that confused the acid out of everyone except my wife, and I saw her expression and asked her what the hell was really going on. Turns out 2 months ago, my eldest came out to her mom and her sister while I was away on a trip. Her mom was apparently shocked and quietly said that she needed to talk to me. She then proceeded to leave my daughters in anxiety by not addressing it at all. Once I came back and was at work, she went on to go on a complete tirade on my daughter with homophobic remarks accompanied by, "Your father and I," which caused this entire mess. My loving wife, who I thought was a saint, is actually a homophobic monster when it came to her own daughter. We've gone to pride parades together and we have had friends who were gay. So this was a complete shock to me. I just had to leave that situation and just got in my car and drove off. I'm currently staying with a friend from work who has been quite understanding. I don't want to talk to anyone right now. Everyone has hurt me so bad and I can't or even want to deal with this. I understand that my daughters are somewhat blameless because my wife was my partner and what she said could have been used as evidence against me, but I thought my daughters and I were closer and that they'd come out to me or at least feel comfortable to talk to me about it regardless of what they thought I believed. I'm absolutely pissed off at my parents because they're grown adults. They should be able to talk or even scold me if I was in the wrong and point out my shortcomings and not just block and ignore me. I despise my wife and there is no way in hell I'm staying with her anymore. The last messages I sent were, "Daughters, I love you both and I don't care who you date or marry as long as you're happy, but I will need time because the recent events have hurt me a lot. Don't hesitate to contact me in case of emergencies. Parents, I am disappointed and betrayed that you wouldn't even attempt to talk with me and I don't want to talk to you at this point. Next time you hear about me will be through a lawyer. Burn in hell." This is what my life has come to in a span of 2 months. From a happy, close, loving family to scattered pieces of a broken plate. Story 3, I am staring down what could be the final months of my marriage. Throwaway account for obvious reasons. I 30M and my wife 30F have been in a wonderful relationship for the past 11 years. We are college sweethearts and have been through so much together, from living in multiple cities, to eloping and dealing with our pissed off friends and families together, to seeing each other through the death of loved ones, to getting our first and second cats together. We lived our second childhoods together, as we like to call it, and have had the most loving relationship I could ever ask for. Well, earlier this year, that all came crashing down for me. This year, my wife came out to me as polyamorous, and told me that it was just something she was learning about herself. I felt taken aback by it and felt all sorts of insecurities. Am I not enough? Is this relationship a joke to you? Why do you need to duck other people? Of course, I didn't say any of these things to her, but instead tried to remain calm and discuss the topic with her. She told me that it wasn't something she necessarily had the energy to pursue, but that it was a side of her she was interested in exploring eventually. That gave me some relief because at least I felt like I had time to process everything with her and learn more about polyamory, and maybe challenge myself to see if I just learned more, then it would be okay. After she told me, we were talking about polyamory and what that might look like for us every now and then on date nights. I was always uncomfortable talking about it, because in truth, I just want her. I don't want to think about other partners every time I think about her. I want her, and only her. Why can't I be enough? If she is truly polyamorous and wants other people in her, doesn't that imply that I was never enough? Anyways, I entertained the idea, because well, she has always been bisexual, and there was always a part of me that felt guilty for trapping her in a heterosexual relationship. See, I was her first and only. And sometimes I wonder if part of her feels like her queerness never really got to be expressed because of that. So maybe, this could work. And hey, it's not like it's realistic to expect that either of us would ever feel attraction of any kind to someone else. It's just about whether it's acted on or not. The months pass and we both learn more about polyamory and what that can look like. We like the idea of a mono-poly hierarchical relationship, and I stupidly think yeah, our love is so strong, I'll definitely learn to want this. I'll be the primary partner and I'll always come first. I believe her when she says that, because she's only ever been 100% there for me through thick and thin. But inside, I'm worried, because if she finds another, won't she stop being there for me 100%? I tell her my fears and she comforts me, telling me that I am the love of her life and that she's not going anywhere. But then again, if she wants to see other people, isn't she going somewhere? I love her so much and want to believe her. But I find myself dying inside whenever consensual non-monogamy or polyamory is brought up. I start reading all the propaganda out there by people in polyamorous relationships. Oh, it's so ethical, monogamists don't even know how to communicate. Most one-to-one marriages fail because we're not evolved for that. We have so much love to give. I start telling myself all those sweet nothings and denying myself the right to want monogamy. And the thing is, I believe my wife when she tells me that she would prioritize me. The ducking problem is I don't want that. I don't want someone to just come by and take her away from me, ever. I don't want some ducker to call themselves her partner, because I want to be the only one. I have given her all of myself, and she's always given all of herself to me. And I'm here making myself feel selfish for not wanting to share. Duck me. Well, this all came to a head one day when she finally came to me with what I didn't want to hear. She developed feelings for someone else, and wanted to tell me about it for transparency. She's always been honest and transparent with me, but man, did this one hit me like a ducking truck. She assured me that she hasn't acted on it, that person doesn't know, and she doesn't have to take it any further than I am comfortable. But I get a panic attack and start having visions of her leaving me. We talk a lot and she spends a lot of time comforting me, and we agree to see a poly-friendly therapist who can guide us through what we're going through. We go see the therapist and she points out that we have a wonderful relationship, but our communication had broken down. My wife had agreed that we wouldn't do anything with polyamory this year, and while she hasn't acted on anything, telling me was basically asking me to move things forward. I eventually break down and confess that I don't want any of this, and that I hadn't been allowing myself to be okay with wanting the beautiful relationship we already have. It's a tough conversation that the therapist guides us through, and eventually we decide to put a formal pause to polyamory talks. My life had been suffering because of a lot of losses simultaneously. My best friend decided to stop being friends with me because she was jealous of my wife. My workplace laid off my best friends and left only me behind, and my grandmother died. I haven't been sleeping well and I've been gaining weight. I just need my life to be stable for a little bit. We all eventually agree that it's best that we take a few months to work our communication and to help me move on from a lot of the loss I have been experiencing. She promises that we can go as slow as we need to, and that I can have more time if I want. She won't act on any feelings, and promises to treat the topic as delicately and sparsely as she can. But she also admits that being poly is something she needs, and she has so much love to give. We'll be monogamous for a few more months while I get my asset together, I guess. The thing is, she has been so wonderful to me and we have had such a beautiful life together. I don't want anyone else but her, and I want her all to myself. I can have her for a few more months, and I'm afraid that when those months pass and it's time to revisit this conversation, I'll be changed and learn to be okay with this. I'll be okay and watch the world we built together slowly fade, watch her walk away from me as I stop being the only one in her life. The thing is, I already stopped being that to her the moment she figured she was poly. My relationship with her as I know it has already ended, and I'm staring down our final months as a monogamous couple. I'm trying to hold myself together and be a better husband and partner anyway. If I'm going to be let down in the end, I might as well have the best ducking last months with her as I know it. This could all work out, or it couldn't. Either way, my marriage as I knew it is essentially over. There's something else there now in its place. I never wanted this, but it's what I get. Part of me prays that if I ever entertain this poly asset a few months from now, that she starts dating and realizes that dating ducking sucks and never mind I'm not poly, just silly, but that's just a fantasy. I got a few months left with her. Then, us as we knew it is done. Will be something else. Maybe it can be better, but I get this nagging feeling that I'll have to learn to let her go already. She has so much love to give, and one day, I won't be the only one. And maybe, it'll be over. I'm broken, but I know this isn't necessarily the end. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, dude, I mean this with the most love and respect can muster for a stranger on Reddit. Try to develop some self-respect and lay down your boundaries. She had laid the boundary that this is something she needs, if not now then a few months or years from now. She's taking care of herself, you need to lay down the boundary that you need her, not bits and pieces of her. Redditor follow-up, sounds like she needs polyamory and op needs monogamy. So op and their wife really need to ask themselves if polyamory is worth losing their spouse over. It sounds like the answer is yes for both of them. Redditor 2, polyamory will only work if both parties are 110% invested. If when you eventually give in, you're going to hold a lot of resentment towards your partner, you need to sit down with your partner and tell them that you don't feel comfortable moving forward with polyamory, and that if they value polyamory more than your monogamous relationship, then it's best if you'll end things. Being forced into a polyamorous marriage will completely wreck your mental health, so rather give them the option of being monogamous and staying married, or continue their polyamorous journey as a divorced single person, as you want nothing to do with that lifestyle. Redditor follow-up, it's referred to as poly under duress, and yeah, it will kill any marriage stone dead. Redditor 3, she is pushing it, regardless of your feelings. She can see the heartbreak, and still going for it, selfishly. Be selfish yourself. Pursue your own happiness, even if it means life without her. I know, easier said, but still. Also, monogamous people are not so good at communicating? What a bullshit propaganda. People are either good at communicating or they aren't. There is no monogamous, poly, straight, European. I can tell you this much, your partner sucks in that field. Her communication is a one-way street, where she gets what she wants. Wishing you best of luck. Redditor follow-up, what's BLLS it to me as the whole I have so much love to give. I just have to give it. Why does that have to equate to ducking others? If you have so much love to give, why aren't you volunteering at a children's hospital or an animal shelter? Why doesn't your partner feel smothered in your copious amounts of love? But, for her, it's not about needing to spread out love or she'd just get a pet. It's about having time with other people because she can love without having time. She's lying if she says anything different. Why are monogamous people looked at as these selfish, loveless people who don't know or have the ability to express themselves or love without pretense? It's like being poly and ducking everyone is the only way to be utterly selfless. I mean, do you? But don't it on other people and put them down to elevate you and your personal lifestyle. The only selfishness and closed-minded person is Op's partner. He's the only one putting someone else's feelings above his own. She's seeing his hurt firsthand but still trudging forward with a smile and patting his head. P.S. Op didn't trap her in a monogamous relationship. She chose to be in that relationship. Every day, she made the decision to stay with him. Every time I read one of these posts, this topic is brought up as if the monogamous one is restricting the poly one. She has a free will. Hope he reads all of these and realizes that he's not her ball and chain, like he's been made to feel. Redditor 4, man, I hate to say this, but you should move on sooner than later. If you stay, you will hurt more and more and eventually will completely hate the image of her. Her name will be like the taste of lemon to you. Her memories will become a source of PTSD. Save whatever memories you have of her. You're 30, you still got your looks, your energy, and a life ahead of you. Don't use what time you have now to be in a relationship you will hate. Also, yes, it's easy for me to just type this, you have to do the executing. But I can tell you won't enjoy the relationship. Personally, I like being with someone where 70% of the time I'm happy and content with them. If it goes below that or even 50-50, I can't. Your relationship has seemed to go down to 50-50, mate. Redditor follow-up, I hate ultimatums, but he has to give her one. This will completely mentally wreck him. Monogamy with him, or polyamory with others. This man is not made for polyamory and that's okay. She asks him to choose polyamory if he wants to stay with her. It's only fair if he asks her to choose monogamy for him. It's literally destroying him inside. Also, she sees how much she is hurting him. If she loved him, she would either break up with him to ease his pain, or give up on polyamory. Sorry, she's acting extremely selfish. She's taking care of him and acting extremely supportive so that she can hurt him more later. This with the therapist is very weird for me, it's like they're trying to convert him. He's not polyamorous. And personally, I doubt the wife is too. Since he was her first, she is probably bored and wants to cheat without consequences. Maybe I'm wrong, of course, but that's what it reads to me. Redditor 5, first, I'm incredibly sorry for what you've been going through this year. From what you posted, the universe has been pretty unfair to you and you deserve better. Unfortunately, I don't have much hope that better is in your future. My relationship with her as I know it has already ended, and I'm staring down our final months as a monogamous couple. I think this is the point you need to truly consider accepting. The marriage is over. She will be moving on to something new. And you won't like that new thing. So, it would probably be smart to take some time to start preparing for the separation that is coming your way. Split the finances. Figure out who gets what car and get them in the appropriate person's name. And most importantly, start figuring out where you're going to live once she decides that her choices are going to override the marriage. If I'm going to be let down in the end, I might as well have the best ducking last months with her as I know it. This could all work out, or it couldn't. Either way, my marriage as I knew it is essentially over. With what you've posted about what she has said, you will be let down in the end and this won't work out. I think it's past time to be clear with her that her wanting a poly relationship means that she cannot have you. Period. It's either or. For her, there is no having her cake and eating it too. It's either monogamy with you or polyamory with others. If she tries to force you into polyamory with her, the only thing she'll get is constant resentment and destruction of trust from you. Unfortunately, it also sounds like she's made up her mind that you two are no longer compatible, and I'm truly sorry for your loss. As I said above, instead of trying to make these next few months the best, take these next few months while things are still good and work on splitting your lives apart. Develop that exit strategy so that when the time finally comes, you have the ability to walk away and be stable. I know you don't want to, but for your safety, sanity, and future well-being, I think you need to. Redditor follow-up, op, seriously, what are the odds of this working for you? What is the best case scenario and would you be happy with it? In a couple of months things are going to get real weird. Don't stick your head in the sand and hope it all goes away. Be proactive and ready to walk away when she starts doing something you are uncomfortable with. Then when she sets up a situation that makes her happy, you can decide if you want to come back and find your place in the group. You might enjoy waiting around for her to finish with her new preferred sexual partner and see if she does have all this extra love to give you sloppy seconds.